Well, hello again, and welcome again to another episode of Down to Earth but Heavenly Minded. I'm your host, Rish. Today we are going to be in the last chapter of the book of Exodus. And we were going through all the things of the tabernacle and all the furniture and everything and how it was all put together and made. Now, in this very last chapter, we wind up and wrap up everything that we've been reading about towards the end of our book of Exodus, and that they're going to erect the tabernacle, they're going to put it all together, going to set it up, and that's what we're going to be reading today. So, with that said, I'm going to get our chapter up here. Our chapter is chapter 40, and this is the tabernacle erected. So, let's read it. We're going to end our book of Exodus today. And then I'm going to take a break before we go any further. And we're going to do a recap, kind of a little looking back at what we covered in these first 3 months of these episodes. And before we go on, I think it's good to kind of do a review, and that's what I plan on doing. It's got to give me some time to put it together. So, well, you won't even know it, but I probably won't be putting up any videos for a few days to put together the recap. But with that said, let's just finish our chapter or our book in the last chapter here. So this is the tabernacle erected. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, on the first day of the first month, you shall erect the tabernacle of the tent of meetings, and you shall put in it the ark of the testimony, and you shall screen the ark with the veils, and you shall bring in the tables and arrange it, and you shall bring in the lampstands and set up the lamps, and you shall put the golden altar of incense before the ark of the testimony, and set up the screens of the door of the tabernacle. You shall set the altars of burnt offerings before the door of the tabernacle and the tent of meetings, and place the basin between the tent of meetings and the altar, and put water in it. And you shall set up the courts all around, the hangings up of the screens and the gates and the courts. Then you shall take the anointing oil and the anointing of the tabernacle and all that is in it, and consecrate it, and all the furniture, so that it may become holy, and shall also anoint the altar of burnt offerings and all the utensils, and consecrate the altar, so that the altar may become most holy, and shall also anoint the basins and its lampstands and consecrate it. Then you shall bring Aaron and its sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and shall wash them with water, and put on Aaron's holy garments. And you shall anoint him and consecrate him, that he may serve me as priest. You shall bring his sons also, and put coats on them, and anoint them, as you anoint their fathers, that they might serve me as priests, and their anointing shall admire them, and to a perpetual priesthood throughout their generations. And Moses did according to all that the Lord commanded him, so he did. In the first month of the second year, on the first day of the first month, the tabernacle was erected. And Moses erected the tabernacle, and he laid its bases, and set up its frames, and put in its poles, and raised up the pillars. And he spread the tent over the tabernacle, and put the coverings of the tent over it, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He took the testimony, and he put it into the ark, and put the poles of the ark, and set the mercy seat above the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle and set up the veil of the screening of the ark of testimony, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He put the tables of the tent of meetings on the north side of the tabernacle, outside the veil. He arranged the bread on it before the Lord, and as the Lord had commanded Moses. He put the lampstands in the tent of meeting, opposite the table of the south side of the tabernacle, and set up the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He put the golden altar in the tent of meetings before the veil, and he burnt fragrance incense on it, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He put in place the screens of the door and the tabernacle, and he set the altar of burnt offerings at the entrance of the tabernacle of the tent of meetings, and offered on it the burnt offerings and the grain offerings, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He set the bases between the tent and the meeting and the altar, and put water in it for washing, with which Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet when they went into the tent of meetings, and when they approached the altar, and washed as the Lord commanded Moses. And he erected the courts around the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the screens and the gates of the courts. So Moses finished the work. Now the glory of the Lord is going to come in. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle, and Moses was not able to enter the tent of meeting because of the cloud setting on it. And the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Throughout all their journeying, wherever the cloud was taking up from over the tabernacle, the people of Israel would set out. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not set out till the day that it was taken up. You see, God was leading his dear people along. For the cloud of the Lord was on the tabernacle by day, and fire was in it by night, in the sight of the house of Israel throughout all their journeying. This sets the stage for their wandering in the wilderness. The Lord was with them in the tabernacle, and his appearance was a physical appearance, but he was with them spiritually as well, and he was leading his people along. The other night when I couldn't sleep, the lyrics of the refrain of a song was going through my mind all night long. And it was about the leading of the Lord. Some through the water, some through the flood, some through the fire, but all through the blood. Some through great sorrow, but God gives a song in the night season and all the day long. You see, God will lead us if we just listen to him and take his guidance as we go through life. This truly is a textbook for life, the Bible. So with this, we're going to end our reading today in the book of Exodus. And we're going to do a review the next time we get together. And then I'm not sure where we're going to go from there. I got to pray about it and get the leading of the Lord. But I know that the book of Exodus, the book of Leviticus, the next book in the Pentateuch, is truly a book of worship. And that's really what all Christians need to do. The Father seeks such to worship him in truth and in spirit. Let us be worshipers. That's what God saved us for, so we can fall at his feet and worship the God of the Bible, the true God, the one who sent his Son to die at Calvary for each and every one of us. Well, with that said, bye for now.